Hello, this is wmpyr. Saw Alien Covenant this weekend, and yeah, just want to share my 2 cents. Man, this is very difficult video to make because I don't want to do spoilers, and probably a lot of the things that you're interested in and questions you might have, it's going to lead to spoilers. So it's very difficult. The main thing is overall, I enjoyed it. I liked it, and definitely I want to see what happens next. So in that view, it's a success. The budget in this movie looked huge. I was like, whoa, that scene must have cost a lot of money. Whoa, over the top. Really, that's the perfect word. Over the top. That removes me from the movies. And if you ask me, with a lot of films today, that's the biggest minus. And then the other part is the unrealistic aspect that Hollywood puts in. So I wish in Prometheus and also in this movie in Covenant that they would have NASA scientists and stuff as advisors when they made the film and made certain things realistic, because the way they go to a new planet and they just walk in is just completely unrealistic. No probes. That being aside, like I said, I enjoyed this movie. The interesting part is there were a lot of things as I was watching it that was very predictable. Okay, so as I'm watching it, I'm going, okay, this is gonna happen next. This is gonna happen. So I didn't blurt it out because that would make me the super annoying person. So no, I kept it inside and I didn't blurt it out. And was that story entertaining? I didn't really care for it too much, the whole aspect of you have your creator and then they have a god complex, and then they're looking for their creator, the humans, right? Or looking for their creator, the engineers and all that, and then how are they going to be received and whatnot. That's all at the end of throughout Prometheus, and at the end of Prometheus we discover that they're trying to find that out, right? That's where we're kind of left off. And so this movie continues on with that, which is cool because those are some very interesting, fascinating questions. And they do it without getting too religious, which means they're not too preachy. Because if it's too preachy, I can get annoyed. So it wasn't too preachy, and then but the direction that they head, where you're unsatisfied with your creator type thing, is that really that interesting of a story? And I'm not quite sure. But there's a lot of things implied in this movie that now we're getting towards more interesting direction, in my opinion. Like, for example, the aliens. What exactly are these things? How do they come to be type of stuff? That was more of that was answered in this movie, and I'm not exactly sure that I agree with that direction that they took, but you kind of get the idea. I mean, and they've already implied that the aliens are the ultimate species. So that's very interesting. And then, so just that alone, what would be the ultimate species? You could have a debate with somebody, you could have a discussion with somebody, just talking about what in your mind would be the ultimate species. And that's an interesting subject in itself. This movie kind of goes through that. So that's pretty cool. And then, so, what would be an apex predator? And then you have an apex predator which is on top of the food chain, but then what if there's something that basically just destroys the food chain? And why would it destroy the food chain? Well, then you could kind of look at forest fires. That happens so that a new life can start. So the alien is put in that position where it's not just an apex predator. This is like the forest fire. So that's very interesting. So it's like a species terminator. And so I wish they would kind of go more into that, because in some of the other or in a lot of the alien films, I'm watching it and I kind of get the viewpoint that the alien is not that awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, the design, it looks great, it's formidable and everything, but to be the ultimate predator, is it really the ultimate predator? It feels a little weak, in my opinion. I know Sigourney was like 100%. Her character Ripley was super worried. It's like, do not bring this thing back to Earth. And I'm kind of like, I think you could bring it back to Earth, and really, I don't think it'd be that big of a problem. I think we'd wipe it out, or we contain it pretty well. One alien back to Earth, and even if it breeds a little bit or is able to multiply a little bit, I don't think it's that big of a worry. But the spores and the black gel and that kind of stuff, to me, that is a worry. That's a lot more formidable than the actual alien itself. So I kind of feel like they need to focus more on that if we're talking about a ultimate species. So maybe, you know, I'm kind of headed towards that direction now after watching these movies, that the ultimate predator would actually be more of like a microscopic organism rather than, you know, this monster that comes attacks you. And the cool thing is, at the end of this movie, I kind of feel like it's leading towards, right at the end of this movie, so the next one, the last one of the trilogy, I feel like it's going to be almost like a remake, an indirect remake of Aliens. And Aliens is the second one. The second one that was directed by James Cameron, which I believe is, out of the franchise, perhaps the most popular. And I feel like the first film was groundbreaking, but the second one is the most popular. So that's what we're heading towards, it feels like. So in the next one, maybe we get to see some awesome military special forces type personnel go in to combat the aliens, and that in itself would be really, really cool to watch. And I would think that would lead to Aliens versus Predator done right, which is elite military from Earth mixed in with, you know, the aliens and the predators and all that. So hopefully we'll get to see that coming in the future. So anyway, thank you for watching, and take care, folks.